This week, my brilliant leaders, we are talking communication in leadership. Holy buckets. What opportunity do we all have here? There's two parts of communication. Communication is how and what. Okay, so how you're communicating and what you're communicating. So this is your verbal communication, talking. This is written communication, but this is also all those nonverbal things, how you're showing up. Leadership is empowering and unifying your team toward a common goal and how you want that goal to feel. Hey, how you doing? Come along. That's leadership. That's leadership. It is that simple. Hey, this is where we're going. Let's go that way. Come along. But you can't do that without communicating where you're going and who's doing what, and who's going to take on what roles and how you're going to coordinate everybody. A big part of leadership is coordinating, right? Who's the best person for this and who's the best person for that? And how are we going to all work together to make this happen the way that we want this to feel to happen to get where we're going? Because you can see 1,000 patients a month, but how you want that to feel is what requires that coordination. A leader is a great coordinator. You have a clear vision, you know how you want it to feel, and you're coordinating everybody getting there. Right? The second people have questions, the second there's, okay, but what about in this situation? The second there's a power vacuum where somebody thinks that this is what's happening and somebody thinks that that's what's happening, and there's not really a strong leader communicating, then you're going to divide that momentum. And it is your empowered and unified team working toward a common goal that's going to get that the momentum built and move you there quicker. So the second you're dividing that momentum, that's what requires this rigid, top down, micromanagey, not as fun, stressful, heavy kind of management. Where if we're saying, hey, this is where we're headed, let's all go that way, right? Like, how are we getting there? Communication is required to share all of that in order to protect and provide the space for it. You're communicating expectations, you're communicating boundaries, you're communicating what the vision is, how we're going to get there, who is going to do what. That's this coordination piece. Okay. Great leaders are proactive, they're inclusive, and they're quirky. What the hell does that have to do with anything? They're proactive. Okay. They are addressing the concerns before they're concerns. Hey, I'm seeing that you two seem less comfortable sitting next to each other. Tell me about that before it's an all out fight. Okay. Right. There's a lot happening in the world right now. And let's do what we can to set up plans to be ready. What are we doing if this happens? They are in consulting. When I go into organizations, one of the things that I often see is that communication just goes down the next level in the hierarchy chart. Okay. So the presidents are communicating with the VPs, are communicating with their directors, are communicating with their managers, are communicating with the supervisors. So by the time, and then there's like once a year that the top communicates with the front line. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. There is so much, like, you play telephone and things change in three people, right? Can you imagine having this important information being adjusted and changed so many times as it works its way down to the front lines? Now you have people not going the same direction the same way. And again, you're divided. Okay. So communication is going to be inclusive of anybody that's impacted by it, anybody that's influenced by this communication, these decisions, that's a part of the team. One of the main reasons that healthcare employees leave a position is because they do not feel an included and valued member of the team. So this isn't just lip service. This isn't just that's nice. This is helping minimize your turnover when people feel included in the bigger picture and as a part of the team. So you're going to do your vision. Okay. This is what we're working on. This is where we're headed and how we're headed. And in order to do that, okay, front desk, you're going to do this. Text, you're going to do this. All right. So they can see how it all goes together. All right. Also, you're not just getting information from your VPs, from your clinic managers. You are talking to your front lines, the ones that are actually there doing it. Now, you're still the decision maker, the final decision maker, but you've communicated the vision and where you're going and how you want to get there and what the value, and you want to hear from your people. Okay. So you're going to be inclusive of the people that are actually doing the work. Then you've embraced who you are, right? So you're quirky as a leader. We get to be a little silly and we get to be goofy because we're taking it so seriously. People have been talking about different words that I make up or different ways that I say things for years, and titles were that it came from this place and that it was genuine and authentic. And I get excited and I start and things happen. Okay. But we embrace that, and it was just a quirk of mine that people knew was a real thing and that we'd embrace it and laugh about it, and it would be a fun thing, right? All right, so you know that you cherish, love, and respect you for all of who you are. You know that you don't have to show up a certain way to be respected, loved, and cherished, that you get to be you. You've done this interpersonal work and you know that you get to show up as you. You have a clear vision of where you're headed and you communicate that. Communication is required in each of these six aspects, the six arcs, the six skills of leadership. All right. So those are awareness, leading by example, training your team, empowering, encouraging, and redirecting. So let's go through each of those and talk about some of the communication that's required. Okay. So awareness, again, non-judgmental awareness. This allows for you to be proactive. This is you noticing what people are saying, but also what they're not saying. This is taking that information in. Okay. Because then you can say, hey, I'm noticing. Tell me about that. Right. Then you can be proactive once you've taken this information in. Leading by example, you're going to communicate the way you want your team to communicate. Positively, you're going to speak directly, you're going to speak quickly, you're going to speak slowly, you're going to speak in direct language, in flowery language. You're going to communicate by email, you're going to communicate in person. You're going to right? Hey, Mrs. So and so, or Mrs. So and so, here we go. How does that, you're curating the experience that you desire for your staff and for your patients and for yourself. So you're leading that by example. So once you figure out how you want that to feel, then you're curating every experience to go toward that. So communication and the style of communication is also a piece of that. So you are leading that by example. You're training your team. 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 Right? And this is inclusive training your team. Now, not everybody's going to know everything. This is not cross training, but this is people know your clear vision. They know where you're headed and they know how you want it to feel as you're getting there. Everybody is informed, yes, the technical skills, but also this not technical piece. Okay. You're empowering them. You're letting them know that they matter. Authenticity is I matter. Empowerment is you matter. Okay. I want to know what you think. I want to know what your experiences are. I want to know, right? These are people that you've brought into your team or into your experience to allow you to do what you love to do. Okay. That you don't want to check vitals all day. You don't want to do that. Your team is there to do that. You don't want to send all of the surgery scheduling forms into the hospital all day. Your team is there to do that. You don't want to deal with every refill every day. They do the things you don't want to do so that you can do what you love to do. You are so grateful for them. You are so grateful for them. The next one is encourage. You're celebrating the hell out of them. Hey, I saw how you communicated with so and so. That was brilliant. I saw how you communicated with that patient. Thank you. I heard how you asked that question. Yes, that was amazing. Right? Hallway high fives. Uh, genuine gratitudes. Actually, hey, how are you doing today? This is not once in a while when there's a problem. You are creating spaces for them to communicate with you so that you can have the awareness of when something's shifted, so that they feel comfortable speaking to you. Not just when something's really wrong, but when they're kind of seeing something that's a little wonky. You want to know about that, right? Celebrating them, okay? So you're empowering them. You want to know what they think, right? They're members of their team. You want to delegate to them. Okay. And when it's your patient, you want to know what they think. This is their healthcare journey. You respect them enough to know that they can make the decision for themselves. So you are going to communicate the information that's available and that's relevant to what they are trying to decide. Okay. You're a resource on their healthcare journey. You respect them and you're going to empower them to make their decisions. They matter to you, right? Their dreams, their goals, their fears, their struggles, and their successes all matter to you, as is relevant to what you're doing. Okay. So it is not oversaturating. It is communicating, it's including them in what's relevant to them. Okay. And then redirecting. This is the sixth. You are directing to or away from you. People that are not maintaining standards, people that are not, or situations or resources that are not maintaining standards get to go away. Okay, close. This is communication systems. This is, hey, we've been trying this voicemail or this portal or this software and it's not working. This is our goal. This is how we want it to feel. Let's try this one. Okay. We're going to redirect back towards, if I find myself not communicating in a way that I want to communicate, I'm going to redirect myself back towards that goal. How do I want it to feel? What are our goals? What are we trying to achieve? How do we want it to feel? Okay. Now, this is with the understanding that I get to choose who and which version, which facet of me I give energy to in any given moment. Okay, this is part of being a multifaceted leader and having a multifaceted team. However, when you work with me, we work on who are you at your core of all of those facets. No matter which version of you shows up, what's true? That, that, that is who you are. That is what you're going to focus on. Okay, no matter who I am, no matter which version of me shows up, this is true. So I might speak in professional speak. I might speak in some like mudding in my truck slang. Okay. But no matter what, at the root of it, at the core, I am this. Alrighty, you guys, this week, the short videos will be related to communication in leadership. So do follow the professional channels and you will find more this week there.